Hello, everyone. This is Miss Kopak. This is Word Work lesson number 8. Before we get started today, I want to remind you that at the bottom of the directions in Seesaw, there are links where you can click and read these 3 posters. You can also print them off if you have a printer at home. These posters are really good to use for some review or as just an extra reminder. So the first poster shows the short and long vowel sounds. The second poster tells the different types of syllables. And then the next poster that I added this week is the vowel teams poster. So I highly recommend checking out these 3 posters and printing them off if you have a printer. So this week we have been going back over the vowel team syllable. And remember, this is the hand signal that we use to remind us of the vowel team syllable. 2 fingers together touching each other. That is because the vowel team syllable has 2 letters, they're usually 2 vowels, that are side by side and they're making one vowel sound. For example, EA. When we see EA together, they make one sound, E. Some others are IE, EE, OA, but also don't forget W and Y. When they are with vowels, they make a vowel sound too. So remember, this chart over here can help you remember the different vowel teams and the sounds that they make. So today we're going to be reading some multisyllabic words that have vowel teams in them. So when I come to a word that I don't know, remember the first thing that I should do is find the vowels. So here I have an I, and here I have EE, and they're side by side. So we have a vowel team. So now I want to look for some syllables. So I see, well, we have EE. That is definitely a vowel team. They are side by side. So I want to separate that syllable, but I need to draw the line to separate it. And I'm not just going to guess. I see in between these vowels are 2 consonants. When there are 2 consonants in between the vowels, I should separate right between the 2 consonants. That's usually what's going to happen. So in between the I and the E are 2 consonants. So I'm going to separate them. So here I have a closed syllable, and here I have a vowel team syllable. So here is indeed, and I put it together, and I have indeed. Let's try some others. So let's find the vowels. And again, in between the A and the O are 2 consonants. So we're going to separate them. So here is the first syllable. It is a closed syllable, fac. And then here we have a vowel team. OI sounds like oi, oid, toid, factoid, factoid. Next, I have an O, and here's AI, and I'm going to separate the 2 consonants in between. I have obtain, obtain. Next, I have I, and here is AW, our vowel team. Separate the 2 consonants. Jig, saw, jigsaw. Next, I have E and AY. Now notice in between the E and the A is just 1 letter, not 2. So when that happens, the first thing that I should try is separating right after the first vowel. And if I read it and it doesn't sound right, then I should try separating after the consonant. But usually it's going to be right after the first vowel. Not always, but usually. So let's try reading this open syllable here. We have D and then K, D, K, DK. Next we have E and OY. And in between are 3 consonants. And I see the 3 consonants are STR. And that's a blend that we see in lots of words like strong, string. So I'm going to keep them together. and I am going to separate right after the vowel E. And I'm also doing that because DE, usually we see lots of words that start with DE, like DK, defend. So I'm going to keep the DE together. And I have destroy, destroy. And then finally, this last word here, we have AI and I. So again, there's only one letter in between our vowels here. So I'm going to separate right after the first vowel, and if it doesn't sound right, I will separate after the consonant. So we have ends with a vowel. So, we have a vowel team here, AI, so it sounds like A, ray, and then we have sin, raisin, raisin. Let's try some more. We have E, AU sounds like ah. We're going to separate between the two consonants. We have A, OI, separate between the two consonants. EE and AW. And with only one letter in between, we're going to separate right after the first vowel sound. O, AI, and for this word, normally I see, there's two consonants separate in the middle, but that will not work for this word, because if we did that, it would be proclaim, and that is not a real word. So here's where I have to try a different strategy. So I'm going to keep this CL together, and I'm going to try separating right after the first vowel. And when we read it, that will be the correct way to pronounce the word. Here we have a U and an E, and then there's NTL in between. I know NT are together in lots of words, like in the words tent and ant. So I'm going to keep them together and separate in between the T and the L. And then here, last word, we have an O, and then we have an OA. I'm going to separate right after the first vowel. So again, normally if there's two consonants in between the vowels, we'll separate right in between. But if there's not two consonants, if there's only one, we separate usually right after the first vowel sound. If there is more than one, then we need to look for some blends and think about what we know about letters and how we've seen them in words, and decide the best way to separate them. So sometimes you have to play around with the syllables, and that's okay. So now we're going to try reading these. So hit the pause button and try reading each of these words on your own. Then hit play to read it with me. Pause now. Okay, you should have tried reading them on your own. Now let's try reading them together. First we have exhaust, 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 exhaust. Tabloid, 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 tabloid. Seesaw, seesaw, seesaw. Just like the site you're using right now. Proclaim, proclaim, proclaim. Gauntlet, gauntlet, gauntlet. Cocoa, cocoa. So we have exhaust, tabloid, seesaw, proclaim, gauntlet, and cocoa. They are all multisyllabic words, and they all have a vowel team in them. Today, when you get back into Seesaw, I'm going to give you 12 multisyllabic words, and all of them have a vowel team in them. What I'd like you to do is to separate them into syllables and to use the microphone to read them aloud to me. So I can't wait to hear your reading of these multisyllabic words. Toodaloo, kangaroos.